Good afternoon, viewers, and welcome to another edition of the Islamic Finance Weekly, where we capture key developments in the non-interest finance market. In global finance, wealth management and generational transfer have vital investment decisions that leave enduring legacies. It has been the trademark of wealthy families, the elites, and notable leaders to establish these financial measures, either a will or a trust, or even both, to achieve financial sustainability. In the non-interest finance market, there has been growing interest in these investment vehicles as people from all classes in the Islamic faith have an opportunity to design their financial strategy. On today's program, we'll discuss the dynamics of Islamic wills, trust, and opportunities for wealth protection. To provide further insights on the topic is our guest, Mr. Abimbola Ajinibi, who is currently a vice president with FBN Quest as the regional head in charge of the company business in the northern region. He is a seasoned professional with over 22 years experience spanning trust services, estate planning, private banking or wealth management, credit marketing, relationship management, and financial services. Over the years, Bimbo has also acquired tremendous experience in retail, commercial, and corporate banking. Mr. Abimbola joins us virtually from Abuja. Good afternoon and welcome to the program.
Yeah, good afternoon. It's a pleasure for me to be on your show this afternoon.
Thank you very much. Mr. Abimbola, it is noteworthy that the Quran and Sunnah prophetic teachings have outlined the guidelines for Muslims to follow when distributing the estate of a deceased person. Give us a piece of broad knowledge about Islamic wills.
Thank you very much. Once again, it's a privilege to be on your show. Now, talking about will, traditionally, people don't want to talk about will because they tend to associate death and all that with will. But however, it's what we have to discuss.
Exactly.
Now, we need to look at what is will. Will it's described as a document that details how one's property and assets should be shared and distributed upon death. And now talking about Islamic will, it's not very different from the conventional will, save for the fact that it has to comply with the Sharia rules and principles. So that's how will is described in Islamic space. Now, the major difference we have between the conventional will and Islamic will, which is the fact that Islamic will is divided into two. You have a portion that is predetermined, and the other portion that you have a freedom as a testator to decide what you want to do with it. What I mean by this is that a testator estate or property is divided into three. The Islamic inheritance law has specified and predetermined how this should be distributed. There are lists of heirs. That's you have the father, you have the wife, the husband, the son, the daughter, the mother, the father. These are predetermined. It cannot be altered. It cannot be changed. However, there is a flexibility in the 1/3 of the estate, which the testator can decide to bequest how he or she likes it. That one is called al-wasiya. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Abimbola, and well noted and very instructive of what Muslims, investors, and every other individual should know about Islamic will. Now, let's look at the goal of estate planning, which is to prepare for the distribution of personal assets to beneficiaries at the time of death. How can an Islamic will be explained in this context to the average individual?
Oh, yes, thank you very much. When we say estate planning, it's also very important to differentiate between estate planning and will. Estate planning encompasses everything. The will, and for us, when talking about Islamic estate planning, we'll be talking about al-wasiya, we'll be talking about the faraid, which is will. We'll also be looking at iba, which is gift. We'll be talking about waf, which it's a bit similar to the conventional English trust. And then we'll be looking at, as I mentioned, Farid and Al-Wasiya. So these are will, and then on the other part, you look at the IBA and WAP. So when we consider WAP, we would also divide it further into two, which is the family WAP and then the public WAP. Now, the essence of having estate planning is for a Muslim to generally plan, not just a Muslim, is for individuals to generally plan their estate in such a way that you know who gets what. It becomes effective while you are alive and thereafter. So the essence of having this is to ensure that there are no complications, there are no crises, there are no issue, and then one tries as much as possible to be tax effective. So that's the essence of having an estate plan.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Abimbola, for that incisive exposition, which is a good way to understand the issues around estate planning from an Islamic perspective. So according to Sahih al-Bukhari, it is a duty of every Muslim who has anything to bequeath not to let 2 nights pass without writing a will about it. So tell us why Islam emphasized leaving a will.
Islam emphasized this because it is envisaged that there will be crisis when estate is not well planned, or when a Muslim refuse to write a will. I've seen a few people saying that because there's a traditional belief, I've spoken with a few Muslims that believe that since Allah already specified how estate should be distributed and shared, that there's no need to write a will. Now, what you have just said further emphasize the importance that you do not need. In fact, you shouldn't go to sleep without writing your will. The essence of this is to ensure that there are no crises when one is no more. Because if an individual dies without a will, it is regarded as dying intestate, and government will be left to distribute the asset. And depending on the jurisprudence, you have a situation where a Muslim passed and refused to write a will. And when the distribution was carried out, it was not done in conjunction with a Sharia principle. So that is why it is important for everybody, or for a Muslim, to write a will.
Yeah, from what you said, Mr. Abimbola, leaving a will in a simple document is a good legacy. And I'll say this is also written in the Quran, Surah An-Nisa, and also in the Hadith. So what are the basic principles of Islamic inheritance, and how can one prepare an Islamic will?
Yeah, thank you very much. As I mentioned, Islamic will is rigid, non-flexible. It has been predetermined. That is the 2 thirds I talked about. Sharia has been predetermined. You cannot change it. You have to follow the Islamic injunction when this is being done. Also, you have the flexibility of determining who gets what with the 1/3 that you are left with. Now, the step to follow, writing a will, because of the nature and the complexity of writing a will, it is important for professional to be consulted.
Yeah, to seek for professional advice.
The scholars, the experts who are very, very vast with the Quran, the Hadith, and they know what. So these are things that have to be put into consideration. In FBN Quest Trustees, we have the expertise and in-house scholars that are well versed in a matter around Islamic inheritance. We'll be able to sit with our clients and guide them through on how to write. The first step is to first list out the assets and the nature of the asset, the title, and once we have this, we'll be able to advise on how to go about it. And as I said, in one's lifetime, there are things one can do regarding one's estate. That is having a trust, having an Islamic trust. In fact, it was even said that the English trust actually came from the principle of Islamic trust. So that is tell you that Islamic trust is a very old concept. So trust is what is effective in the lifetime, while will is what is done after death. So at FBN Quest Trustees, we have the capability and the expertise to guide through on what needs to be done. But as I said, the first thing is to list out the inventory and have the list of assets and the status of all assets. Thank you.
Very apt, and based on what you've shared, it is very important to seek professional advice before preparing a will. And I must commend the FBN Quest for being into Islamic finance will for investors and individuals who really want to know more about it. So what are the general Islamic rules for distributing one's equity interest in assets?
Okay. Basically, Muslim or whoever would distribute assets has 4 duties. Upon that, the first step is to pay the funeral expenses, the funeral and burial expenses, and after that, the debt of the deceased person is offset, because it's believed that a dead person cannot be allowed to die without offsetting the debt. Otherwise, it becomes very difficult for the person to have a peace of mind in heaven. And once this is done, the whole estate is valued, it's looked at, and then it is determined what constitutes 1/3 and 2/3 of the estate. The Al-Wasiya will cater for the 1/3, while the 2/3 will follow strictly with the Sharia compliant on the distribution. For instance, the distribution is such that a man the husband who doesn't have children will inherit half of the estate. And a male child will get as twice as what a male child will get as twice as what a female child will get. The ratio is so complicated that a profession is actually needed to get this done. So these are the process, and it must also be determined who should inherit, who should be the heir. This must be strictly determined. The first set of sharer or heir, these are the husband, the wife, the daughter, the son, the mother, the father. These are the immediate relative. After this, you have another set. You have the daughter's son, the son's son. It's a very long list. The ratio is such a very big one. So a professional is actually needed to get this done.
All right, thank you, Mr. Abimbola. So what is the difference between a trust and a will?
Well, when we talk about estate planning, it encompasses everything. And that's why it's also very important not to just look at the will, but to look at the entire estate planning, which encompasses the trust, the will, the power of attorney, medical power of attorney, financial power of attorney. Now, the trust is good, the will is good, and it's important to have both.
Both, okay.
The trust, it's effective while one is alive. Mm-hmm. One can actually set up a trust. A trust is an agreement, an arrangement between two parties for the benefit of a third person. The settlor is the one who is setting up the trust, and you have the trustees who is acting for the benefit of the beneficiary. So the trust can actually be set up in form of foundation, in form of charity, and then it can also be set up for one's family. It's effective in the lifetime of the settlor, while will becomes effective upon death. So these are the basic difference between will and trust. And for the English trust, that's the conventional trust, it could be revocable or irrevocable, and it may not be in perpetuity. But for the Islamic trust or waqf, let me put it that, it's irrevocable. Once you give to God, and it should be in perpetuity. And I will emphasize the perpetuity. Why I say that is that's the more reason why a corporate trustees or a corporate body should be engaged as what we call mutawali in Islam. That's the trustees. So what the trustees does is that they ensure that the work or the trust run in perpetuity. So I hope I explained that better to you.
The difference between a trust and a will. Yes. Yes, Mr. Abimbola. Now, to wrap up this conversation, let's look at estate planning in Nigeria. How and where should Muslims go to plan their estates?
As at today, FBN Quest Trustees is the only trust company in Nigeria that has capability and expertise in Islamic estate planning and inheritance. And we have in-house experts. We have a scholar, an Islam scholar, very, very vast in Islamic inheritance. So we are available to attend to everybody, to attend to Muslim who desire to plan his estate. And I can assure you that we'll do it very well. We have been in the business for over 40 years, and this is what we have been doing. This is what we are known for. And in the recent time, Islamic finance is beginning to gain traction.
Yes.
And as you are aware, we have the FBN Sukuk, and we have a lot of corporate Sukuk in the market at the moment, which, and this ensures that the market is actually very liquid for Islamic liquid assets to be invested in. So at FBN Quest Trustees, we have the capability to provide these services for every Muslim. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Abimbola, for the enlightening conversation on Islamic wealth, trust, and wealth protection. We do appreciate your time for speaking to us this afternoon. Have a great day.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure. And I'm available next time
Right.
you would like us to have this conversation.
Okay.
Thank you very much. And I wish every Muslim brothers and sisters Ramadan Mubarak. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I enjoy the rest of the day.
Islam imposes an obligation upon Muslims to write a will to ensure wealth is distributed in accordance with Islamic principles. With global economic uncertainties, asset preservation, wealth preservation, and financial sustainability are critical steps for individuals and families to take. Islamic financial institutions have a role to play in partnering with other stakeholders to create more awareness on the value of Islamic wills and trust. There is also need for innovative products in areas like estate planning and investment. This will deepen financial education, foster financial planning, and increase the level of wealth management and preservation in the country. And that brings us to the end of this session. Connect with us on our website, www.crochetng.com. For more information on Islamic finance, follow us on our social media handles displaying on the screen. Join us next week, Friday, for another exclusive interview. Many thanks for watching and have a great day.